Hello, everybody. It's Mango Thunderslice, and it's just kind of a stream of consciousness today. Short one, no huge topics. Well, I guess it's a huge topic. I don't know. It depends on your definition of a huge topic. I guess everything's really meaningful to me, but to other people, everything's just pointless. So, it's all perspective, I guess. So I guess it's just it's crazy. It seems like the universe just keeps getting more and more crazy. I feel like doing what I can to keep the world balanced, but it keeps on just flying off in its own direction. Again, I think it's all part of the learning curve, part of the process, if you will. It looks like, the things in the world are going crazy outside of my little sphere, the micro and the macro, as above, so below. It's all going crazy. And I mentioned at the end of the last video about George Webb and people speculating if he's Mossad and all this stuff, and just the web going crazy with speculation, about this Seth Rich, Awan Brothers, Hillary Clinton, Pizzagate investigation that's now turned into this huge, just YouTube drama like Jerry Springer or something. I guess George Webb has a brother, and he's also a YouTuber, and his name is, he goes by the name Dave Acton, and he's got his own channel, and so it's this whole thing. Dave Acton comes out and says basically his brothers had mental problems, and that George Webb is possibly schizo, but it's just kind of crazy. I stand by what I said at the end of the last video, which is we need to judge people by individuals and by the content of their actions and their words and their information, if we're going to judge them at all. Because just attacking the messenger is the hallmark of a very weak mind. All right, I know a weak mind is attacking me when I make a video about Einstein or whatever, and somebody just starts talking shit at me rather than engaging with the information that I presented. And so, again, we shouldn't be so focused on always just building up the messenger or talking down the messenger like that's what matters. What matters is the actual data, is the information, and it's your responsibility, it's my responsibility, it's our responsibility as individuals to put the pieces together up here, okay? It's not anybody's job to come and bring me the truth, okay? I'm not expecting 100% of everything George Webb says to be truth. That's absurd. I mean, I try as best I can to speak the truth as I know it, but I mean, there's some disconnect here. Sometimes it doesn't always come out perfectly, okay? We all make mistakes. But it's how people react to the knowledge that they made a mistake that really illuminates their true character. And that's just kind of, my life in my little microcosm. It's just there's people, we live in a functionally illiterate society, right? So people receive a little bit of actual genuine information, and they freak out. A little obstacle gets put in their way, and they freak out because they're not capable of actually identifying the situation in that, moment and reacting to it. So they just, blow up and start looking for someone to help them, start looking for someone to blame, any sort of explanation that doesn't involve taking personal responsibility seems to be the order of the day for most people. And it's funny, I'll be keeping my cool and just handling situations, and again, I'm the youngest person in the room, the person with the least experience, but what I've done, the only thing that I feel like I do well in my life is that I keep my mind and my body and my spirit mentally or just energetically organized so that what energy I do have, I can use it however I want to. I don't have to be focused on just bullshit and, taking care of just whining. I can't handle whining and just endless speculation. It's just maddening. There's elements of speculation to a lot of YouTube and a lot of life, but it's just it's got to have some basis if it has any meaning whatsoever. If it doesn't have any basis, it's literally, what is the point? People just, it's like a sport these days, but so everything's going crazy, and again, behind me you see the wheel, and I just wanted to read something about the recent full moon that we're coming out of, because, you know, both in my microcosm and in the macrocosm with the whole, you know, George Webb and Dave Acton, and there's this guy DeFango, you know, who's great. Just found him in the course of this drama, and he's kind of been the mediator in this whole process. And I just think it's interesting for any of you who are tuned into this little YouTube drama to just listen to some of the descriptors of the full moon conjunct Saturn, which happened on the 9th, just a few days ago, and we're still kind of coming out of the energy of. So here it goes. Let's start with Saturn conjunct the moon. If you enjoy pursuing a challenge with lots of hard work and strong-arming your playful side to grow up, you're going to be having fun with this full moon. The Sagittarian passion for truth, justice, and faith in something greater than itself encounters some sharp corners when Saturn insists on bringing that passion down to Earth, where it can be reality checked and put to productive use. So with the full moon in such close proximity to the mighty Saturn, you may be challenged to run your assumptions, beliefs, and judgments through a filter that separates the greater truth from your personal projections. In other words, be prepared to think twice and question what you believe is true, real, and morally right. Does that sound familiar at all? Here's another good quote that they threw in, I guess, Hanlon's razor. Never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity, incompetence, or misunderstanding. But don't rule out malice. I think that's also relevant to this situation. Let's see. You know, and again, this is not like, I'm not here to convince you that astrology is real. This is not like something I'm invested in at all. It's just something that, again, I noticed. I thought my mom was crazy when I was a kid for following things like astrology and, you know, feng shui and all that. But as I get older and I you know, keep looking at this astrological stuff, and it seems to correlate with reality quite often, you know. So that's just really interesting in this case, too. Let's see. At best, though, this aspect pattern challenges to discover and embrace our own personal power, and to do this in ways that are creative, down to earth, and transforming. In other words, watch for difficulties to respond to watch for opportunities to respond to difficulties in ways that are either life-changing or draw on the major changes that have shaped your life. For best results, you'll need to expand your philosophical peripheral vision. In other words, reach for subtle new ideas and concepts that you haven't considered before, even though they're not far from what you are already aware of. It might be as simple as pausing to take a breath before you auto-react with judgment towards someone, and doing a reality check about the reasons why they might have said or done what they did. Alright, and that's pretty much, I think that's as far as I need to go. That pretty much says it, guys, okay? I don't care if George is Mossad. I don't care if George is even a little bit schizo. I care about the information that he's presented, and I will continue to give him credit for the work that he's done. There's definitely something strange going on with the whole Dave Acton, George Webb thing. And I give a lot of credit to DeFango to being the mediator and keeping this whole thing going, you know, because this is relevant, okay? The George Webb saga is definitely key to the finding of some important answers that'll affect all of us. And, you know, I still believe that this is just part of this acceleration that's going to keep going throughout 2017. I don't think things are about to slow down anytime soon. I think it's the water's going to keep boiling, and it's going to get crazy. But that's it. I guess the message from this video, just to recap everything, is just, you know, people are individuals. You know, we got to deal with people on the level that they're at. You know, and they're going to continue to be a bunch of crazy, illiterate fools freaking out at every little, you know, piece of information that comes their way. But those of us who have, you know, cooler heads, it's important for us to make sure that we prevail and, you know, help to balance out these human beings as they make their transition into a different density of planet Earth. Because once we make it through this membrane, if you will, life is going to get a lot easier, but it's going to get a lot crazier before that happens, you know, but we will have paradise on planet Earth. So that's another video from Mango Thunderslice, just another, you know, update on the state of the madness that we call planet Earth. And I hope you all have a great evening. Cheers.